Hello and welcome to,
Hey, we like your pod.
and we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. Good to see you, Maddie.
You
How
too,
you
Don.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. What can I say, Don? It's been a weird week, living in the shadow of a Packers loss. What's that about?
Mhm,
What a foreign
mhm.
feeling. But we're late enough in the week that I feel like the pallor that cast over the week has kind of passed for the most part. I'll admit, like when I was thinking if I should put on a Packer shirt for the podcast today, I was like, you know what? They didn't earn it this week, so I'm just gonna stick with what I was wearing already, my work shirt. So, but yeah, I mean, and then that was a disappointing game to watch. But when you think about it, it was like our O-line was beat up, like so beat up, and then they have a crazy, defense in general. So it's just a bad timing. Things just going wrong, and we held, strong for most of it. Just kind of fell apart at the end with weird, random stuff. It felt like the 2014 NFC Championship game, except much less, much lower stakes.
Much lower stakes.
Much lower stakes. Even just thinking about that game still, Don. Oh,
Oh, I know.
just the
I know.
worst game
I
ever
know.
watched. But yeah, I mean, so apart from like the little kind of like lingering bad taste of being dude wiped out of their stadium, apart from that, I mean, I got no complaints. Things are good. Things are moving along I'm moving along on the house that we're gonna be moving into. Eventually it'll be a totally different background because I'll be in a whole new house.
Woo.
And yeah, things are good. How about you? How you doing?
I had the same thought. I was going to put my Packers shirt on, and I'm like, nah, I'm too tired. I'm not. I'm good. I'm good. They didn't deserve it. I mean, it took me until yesterday to actually take in any Packers content. I needed my
Mm.
time to deal with things. Hey, Joe, nice to see you. So, yeah, things are okay with me. I have a lot of thoughts. I mean, obviously about the whole experience, and I'm trying not to overreact. It just was such a weird game. I wasn't super comfortable because we were 10-0 most of the game, so it was only 2 scores. And then they got the field goal. The Browns got a field goal. So then it was 1 score, and I'm like, we're fine. We're fine.
I know.
So
As
I
a
think
kid.
that's why, of course, anything can happen.
Mhm.
I wasn't overly confident in that or anything like that, but I was expecting a super low scoring game, not quite that low, but hey,
Mhm.
and was expecting, you know, Love to be able to throw more. I didn't think the run game was going to go so great, but because that's what they're known for, shutting down the run. But I
Mhm.
didn't expect our O line to basically not give our quarterback a chance to throw. So
I
that
mean,
was
disintegrating after one play, we lose Zach Tom, and it's like, oh, everything we planned for the O line, we now have to shuffle and kind of
well, I
adjust.
hope I hope that wasn't everything. I hope they had like a plan B for Zach Tom going out. I mean, I would think.
You would
I mean,
think, but it
I
seemed like
would
the backup plan
it
wasn't
didn't look
good.
like it. No, it didn't look good. And so that's what I was, like, wrestling with. It's like, did they not have a backup plan? Like, come on, this is professional football. They had to have
Mhm.
a backup plan, but maybe just the backup plan is not that great, which means what's gonna happen to Sunday? What's gonna happen next
Well,
Sunday?
I mean, I think the backup plan wasn't good enough for that opponent, for like
Mhm.
basically, debatably the best defense, it turns
Sure.
out, in the
Right.
NFL. So there's that.
Still.
I think if that's what was our backup plan, it has to be plan A, on Sunday night. The Cowboys are not a threat. It'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like
Could be.
it'll be
It
fine.
could
I'm not
be.
worried about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not throwing in the towel by any means, but
Yeah,
it did give me some questions. It's like,
fair.
oh.
It was alarming
It was
how,
alarming, a couple
you can't even say that the line was
strange.
porous. It was just like it didn't exist. It was just like free running it, Jordan Love. Here we go. It was rough. It was a rough
Right,
watch.
and so
But I think
I
that's
was thankful we didn't have an injured quarterback at the end of that
yeah,
game, for
seriously. I mean,
sure.
that's like that's the story of the Bengals. you know,
Oh,
no O
I
line
know.
and Joe Burrow's out. With a serious injury again. Um,
Mhm,
but yeah, I mean, I felt
mhm.
really like specific to that game and not something I'm worried about really at this point. I mean, kind of, asterisk depending on how the game goes on Sunday, which I think should be, handily won by the Packers. Like, I'm not worried about that one, but yeah, I mean, if there's like some of that same kind of stuff showing up in that game, then maybe I'll be more concerned. Fortunately,
Yeah,
the bye coming up, chance to heal up more, that's good. But yeah,
yeah, I was not unhappy with that early bye. I had a feeling we would be, needing it. I don't know why. I
huh,
think
me
just because during
neither. So,
practice and injuries and all that, I was like, "Well, maybe we'll need an early bye." I'm not too upset about it. It is what it is, so
mhm.
okay, and so True North is asking, he's trying to figure out what a simulated substitution penalty is. I'm trying to figure out why on earth the NFL, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on some of these crazy calls and their inability to what is their new technology that they're not really using? It was like, we have this new technology for reviews
Isn't
and
it
measuring.
like a microchip in the football? Basically, is that what it comes down
I
to?
don't think it's in the football. It should be, but they're not using it. It's like, look at women's volleyball and these players, like the
Yes.
money that they bring
Mhm.
in is minuscule. Don't tell me the NFL couldn't use that kind of technology where they just have like cameras all around the whole court and
Yeah.
multiple cameras all the time. It helps the judges, refs.
Mhm.
It's just, it takes the question out of the fans' minds about what happened to the players,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, we're living in an era where they can calculate how fast somebody's running down the field on a millisecond change basis.
Mhm.
Like the meter is fluctuating quickly as they're accelerating. We can do that, but we can't accurately say this is exactly where the ball should be. Yeah, that's
It's insane. It's
crazy.
insane. Not that that really had much to do with this last game, but it has to do with
Right.
enough
Yeah.
games that it's annoying, and trust me, mark my words, it's gonna come up soon. It's gonna come up. It's gonna come up
But the
again.
simulated substitution, I felt like that was the ref making stuff up. I've never heard of that before.
I know.
What
Everyone,
simulated substitution? That's not regulation. We're not. You're making stuff up now.
well, they're making stuff up anyway. They're, like I've said before, they're just trying to wear us out and test if we're awake. Are you awake
That's right.
yet? How much more cheating can we do?
Still on
All
there
right,
here.
Maddie. Well, let's get to it, shall we get?
Sure, do it.
Let's get to it. Where's my, oh my God,
I
where
don't
are
know.
we
I'm
going?
waiting for it to happen.
It's time for this week's superlatives. You know what time it is?
I do, because the what do you call that? The clip, the insert tells me what it is.
The,
Tells me
I forgot what I called it. I'm sorry, I'm so tired.
there's a technical
Um,
term for it. We'll just say the
the
thing,
swoosh
the
transition.
transition tells me what
Yes,
time it is now. Yes,
it's
it's
our
time for
transition.
superlatives.
Oh, Maddie, so you have some superlatives this week? I
I
have a
got
few.
4. Yeah, so this week I have 3 that are thematically connected plus a bonus one. I could volley, I could go back and forth, or I could do them all as a block. I'll defer to you, Don. What would you prefer to do?
I have 4 too. I'll start.
Ooh, go for it.
Okay, I can't believe it. Okay, let's go. All right, best stat, sort of.
Okay.
It's best because it made me think and it made me do a little research, but I don't think it was correct. But let me tell you what it is. But it was almost correct, and that's not the point. That's not the point. So this comes from Packaday and Andy's collaboration with Paul Farrington and Ziggy.
Which I'm
And I
loving,
don't know if
by
you
the way.
caught those. Yeah, they're fun. So Paul mentioned a little stat in quotes. In Jordan
Mhm.
Love's 37 career starts as Green Bay's QB1, when he commits a turnover, fumble, or interception, the
Mhm.
Packers are 6-13. When he's turnover free, they're 14-4. This is per Paul Farrington. Now, I had to look that up because I had questions. So I looked it
Mhm.
up and I found out that as of the end of week 3, so currently in
Mhm.
2025, Jordan Love has started 35, not 37 regular season games. So maybe they were adding preseason in there. And I don't know where he got his stat. He might have said, but I can't remember. So his current record as starter stands at 20-15, according to Stat News, not 20-17.
Hmm.
So there's 2 extra games. So I'm not sure what that is. So in the 2025 season, Love has a 67.9% completion rate, not bad. 663 passing yards just in 3 games, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. We know about that one. And his passer rating stands at 110.1. Not bad.
Real good.
So back to Paul's thing. So as of the end of week 3 in the 2025 season, and I know a lot of people are going through this stuff this week, but it's comforting to be
Mhm.
honest. We
Mhm.
need comfort. So
Yes.
Jordan Love has thrown a total of 26 interceptions in his career, and then 1 interception in 3 starts this year. So in games where he was intercepted, the Green Bay Packers have a record of 7-19, indicating that interceptions obviously have often been a factor in the losses.
Mhm.
But the complexion of the games where Love throws interceptions seems to have some common nuances. So that's another conversation, but that just put
Mhm.
that one away for now. And in summary, so Jordan Love's career starts, the Packers have won 7 and lost 19 of the games where he threw at least 1 interception. And so that's kind of like the bigger picture.
Mhm.
And we're not even going to talk about the traumatic Cleveland game, but I did include that number in there. So I appreciate Paul for bringing that up. I did have to kind of look into it a little. But anyway, to put all of that into perspective, here's how Jordan Love compares to some other notable quarterbacks. And this is per
Okay.
Yardbarker. Uh, Aaron Rodgers in his first 35 starts, same number.
Mhm.
Rodgers threw 25 interceptions. So matching totals
Mhm.
there. Brett Favre, well, we know Favre. Favre
Oh,
had
probably a lot more. Yeah.
35 interception in 35 starts. So the comparison to Favre, not so accurate. Patrick Mahomes threw 19 interceptions in his first 35 starts. Justin
Mhm.
Herbert, one of my faves, Herbert has had 22 interceptions in his first 35 starts, so a little
Yeah.
bit lower.
All right. Lovely.
So the comparison highlights that Love's interception rate is well within line of some of the most successful quarterbacks
Mhm.
in recent history. I did some
Yeah.
older quarterbacks too, but it's not really apples to apples when you do that because they don't have as many games. They have different, all kinds of stuff. So
It was a
obviously,
different game back then. People always say, you know.
yeah, yeah. So that was a little comforting. Did you find that comforting?
I do find that comforting. I mean, like after a stinging loss like that, but like, you know what? Really, though the offense was kind of stifled and bottled up, in the
Hmm.
end, it was just a bad day. And he's not a bad quarterback by any stretch. Yeah, he threw like one boneheaded interception, but even then, and I'll talk more about it later. You can see how it happened. It wasn't just like his brain had
Right.
shut off. There's a good explanation for it, or possible explanation at least. We'll get to that later. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, but still, like hearing that stuff, like yeah, a lot of his stats are very similar to like Aaron Rodgers after 35 games, and
Hmm.
that itself is like, oh, I mean, I don't like, as much as I want to, totally be just the most fervent fan and be like Jordan Love is going to be the 3rd in a row, first ballot Hall of Fame quarter. Like he probably won't be because that's ridiculous. But if he's even, almost as good, even like kind of comparable to, like an Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, then that's insanely good. And clearly he's good enough so far to win a lot of games and not throw too many
Hmm.
interceptions and be, a really, really good quarterback. So,
I
you know,
agree.
is
I
that
agree.
comforting,
And
Don?
we don't
I think
want
it is.
him to be super risk averse, right? Like Rodgers
Right.
to me is a
Like
little bit
Rodgers. Yeah.
annoying. Like, come on.
Just throw the ball around. Yeah.
Just
Do
yeah,
it.
like just do it. Go ahead, do
Yeah.
it. Like that's exciting. And yeah, so I agree. And 110 point something passer rating is not
Yeah.
bad,
That's good.
right? For his first years in the NFL. I mean,
Mhm.
this is not
That's
somebody who's
solid.
been doing it for 5, 10 years. So I was very comforted by that. So yeah, my problem, the interception was one thing, but I had such a problem with it, just stuck in my craw. Was I think it was the first quarter. I don't even remember anymore. I totally blocked that game out. But it was when it was, I think it was from the first to the second quarter. There were like a couple seconds on the clock. It was 3rd and 1. And
Yeah.
instead
Was
of
that the
just
third to the
letting the
fourth quarter, or
clock,
is it the first to
instead of
second?
the clock run out, Jordan Love went for it. I'm sure it was Matt LaFleur's call, not Jordan's, right?
Mhm.
I am 100% sure of that. And because Jordan was dealing with that defense, so I'm pretty sure he wouldn't like. But
Mhm.
statistically, it kind of made sense. Anyway, bottom line is he could have just let the clock run out. It was like just a couple seconds, and instead, he ends up getting sacked and running
Mhm.
backward a million yards
Yeah.
and fourth down. So we
Huge
would have
huge
come out of that
loss.
quarter. Yeah, that I thought
Yeah.
that was a big deal. That one. And Matt LaFleur took responsibility for that one. He said it was his call.
He always does.
But, well, I don't
Mixed
know,
feelings about
but
that, but he always does.
yeah. Yeah, but I think it was. I do.
I mean, that would make sense. He's the play caller. I could see it being like, "All right, let's get one off quick. Maybe we'll catch him by surprise." Nope,
Right,
not how it went
right.
down. And I guess that's the thing, Don. Right? Like, if it had someone been a successful play, we'd be like, "Oh, what nerve, what brass that guy has." Trying to say it in a positive way, like we'd be so impressed with the guts, to go for it,
Yeah,
like and catch him off guard. But yeah, it was just the execution was bad, and he took a million yards back, like you said,
it
and
was so ugly.
it was ugly. Yeah, that's a good example of like to some degree, I will kind of absolve him of the pick, but something like that where he should just thrown it away. That's on him. That's on him.
Or just let the clock go.
Or just let the clock go.
I don't think
Yeah.
it was halftime because they would have come back. I think it was one of the mid quarters because
Yeah. No, I was thinking
they
it was
would
the
have come
third to the
back and
fourth.
been at that same spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't halftime.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Suffice
sure
to
about
say,
that.
it was a bad move.
I thought I don't know, that one bothered me a lot. I don't know why.
Yeah. It was bothersome.
It was okay, Maddie, what do you have for your first superlative?
All right, my first superlative. So I'll kind of lay out what the theme is here, and we'll get to them one at a time. So there are basically 3 questions I had after the game, right? Why did Jordan throw that pick? What's the deal with the O-line? And why special teams? Why? So
Mm,
the questions I had this week, and I was, fortunate enough to find some semblance of answers to all these questions in the various, bits of content that I consumed over the week. So for the first one, Don, I kind of obliquely mentioned here, why did Jordan throw that pick? Well, our good friend Dusty Evely did a Packers film room about Jordan Love's interception, and how he did this is that he's looking at the plays that were similar to the one, the what the play call was that were similar to the one where he threw the pick that had happened earlier in the game, to kind of infer like what was supposed to happen on that play. And so there's a fair amount of like, this is a hypothesis. It seems like what it could have been, but Dusty freaking knows what he's talking about. So like, I'm going to say he's probably right on this. And so the way how the defense was responding to like the same play before, kind of what it comes down to, if I were to paraphrase what kind of what Dusty was saying, is that the defense, like one of the safeties, like said basically, "Oh no," Delpit, right, was like, I see they're doing that same thing. I'm going to jump this route, and guessed right, basically, gambled and won, and was there at just the right place to get that. And I think there's an element of like saw what was going to happen, as was happening. So I was like, "Oh, getting over there." But the way how Dusty lays it out, of course, he starts by showing the interception play, saying, "Well, that was ugly, right? Let's see kind of what might have, led into that," and kind of, breaks down the film for these other 2 plays that were very similar to it. Like you just learn stuff watching Dusty break down film. I walk
Yeah.
away smarter every single time. You know what I mean? And this
Yeah.
was such a great example because, yeah, one of my big questions was how did this happen? Why did his brain break here? Well, it didn't. It makes sense. Should
Yeah.
he have not thrown that? Are there a lot of things he could have done to avoid that? You know, that
Mhm.
quarterbacks typically do. I mean, not knowing a lot about what quarterbacks typically do, but stuff I'd heard other places this week. Like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have done that. I mean, interception, but
Right.
Dusty shed some light onto like kind of what probably was going on there and why it's kind of makes some sense that it would have happened. So that was super helpful for helping me to remove some of the sting of the game, understanding better why that interception happened. So thank you, Dusty.
I like that. I'm feeling like, this is therapeutic, and
Yes.
even getting the superlatives ready for tonight, I felt was somewhat therapeutic. It's a way of dealing with loss
Mm-hmm.
and becoming more informed, right?
Yes.
I love that. Yeah. Well, thank you, Dusty. All right, so maybe a little backtracking on this, we might feel bad again.
Come on,
my
Don.
next
We're trying to make progress.
my next superlative is worst loss. Why this one feels so bad. It's not just us, it's Sports Illustrated by Jacob Westendorf. So he had an article on Sports Illustrated
Uh-huh.
ranking top 6 Matt LaFleur losses,
Mm-hmm.
including the one I'm not going to mention that just happened on Sunday,
Yep.
including that
Mm-hmm.
one. But I will say, in those top 6 losses, even though we've had our heart pulled out of our chest the last couple of years a couple times, only 2 were with J-Lo as QB.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the other ones were that other guy whose name I won't mention. Traitor. Giants in the Tommy DeVito fiasco. Oh,
Oh,
that one made me
Tommy DeVito.
so angry. Like,
Yes. That was
what?
a big time fire Joe Barry game right there.
I was just gonna say, thanks, Joe Barry. Yeah. So the Tommy DeVito fiasco and the Browns Sunday were the only 2 or the worst ones with J Lo as QB. So I thought that was a fun. And then I did notice some others had similar similar articles on other magazines and that kind of thing. But this is the one
Mhm.
I found and enjoyed reading, and kind of therapeutic, though, really truly. It wasn't wallowing, and but you can understand it took me until yesterday to try to even take any content in, because I was just like, ugh.
Mhm.
And when I said the Packers were dead to me, I didn't mean forever. It's just how I deal with things. It's like I
Uh-huh.
compartmentalize.
So,
It's
so
like,
behind the scenes, Dawn's referring here to a text she sent me after the game, and I was like, I responded with a GIF that was like, "Whoa!"
no, I wasn't. It's just how I deal. It's like, you're dead to me, and then I don't have to think about it for a while. Then I'm ready. I'm getting warmed up.
Uh-huh.
Watched a little bit of this Thursday night football game and getting ready for Sunday. And Sunday's Sunday night football, isn't it?
Yeah,
Night
love that.
game. Woo.
Yeah,
Okay.
should cleanse the palate. Wash that taste out. I think it will.
It should, but I think the Cowboys and Jerry, they would like nothing more than to, you know,
Oh yeah,
he has something Jerry to be proud of, because he's been humiliated so much by the Cheesehead.
yeah. Jerry probably wants to like prove that he was right. No,
Mhm.
no, buddy, you are a dum dum.
Yeah, I just want our QB not to be in, like, I just want our O line to protect our QB, please,
It'd be
just
good. It'd be
please,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
please.
seriously. So, so shout out to Jacob Westendorf, right? Um, whom we love. Now, did you notice? So Paul Farrington with Andy, right? He brought up like an article in Sports Illustrated with the Packers losses. It didn't occur to me. I didn't make the connection. Was he talking about Jacob's article? Do you think
He might have been. I don't
he might have been?
remember.
I'm not
He might
sure.
have
I'm
been. I
curious.
don't think he mentioned Jacob Westendorf, but he could
Right. He
have
didn't say
been.
who the author was, but could have been.
Could have
I
been.
don't know. Connection
Yeah,
there.
I saw a few different ones, and I didn't write them all down, so they're
Right.
not in my brain right now, but I'm having a forgetful brain today.
I'm gonna say headcanon, Don. Headcanon is that Paul Farrington was referencing Jacob Westendorf on the show with Andy Herman. That's what I'm gonna go with. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think you mentioned Jacob, but I
yeah.
was listening on 1.5 speed, so anything's possible. That's how I take
Darn,
in
I can only listen on 1.5 now. When I listen to stuff at 1 time speed, I'm like, man, can't
It's
they
so
pick up the pace a
slow.
little bit? It's so you guys are talking so slow. Come on. Which I
I
realize is
know.
also affecting like if I'm watching like a TV show. I can't watch it 1.5 speed. There's times I'll be watching TV shows. I'm like, why are they moving so slow? I'm like, oh yeah, because I've gotten too used to listening to podcasts at 1.5
Mhm.
times speed. Yeah.
When I listen to myself doing, like, when I've done a true crime video, it's
Mhm.
like, "God, I am talking so slow. What is wrong with me? I have to speed myself up." I sound so much better at 1.5 or at least 1.25. So, y'all listening, have our blessing if you wanna speed it up. I don't know how
Yeah.
you would
Oh
sound
yeah.
at 1.5,
God.
though. I'm not
I'd be
sure.
talking way too fast. That's
Yeah,
too
I
fast as
used
it
to
is.
talk faster. Yeah. Mhm.
The
California has definitely slowed me down.
Oh, I mean, that's good, right? That's a good
Mhm.
thing. So,
Yeah, it took decades, but it finally did. Yeah.
do you ever have that, Don, where like a podcast you usually listen to 1.5, you go back and for some reason it's on 1 time speed and you hear like the theme music for the podcast, you're like, is that what it normally sounds like? Do you have that
Right.
experience?
100%.
Packaday
All the
podcast music,
time.
especially the end music. I've heard it like at 1 time speed a couple times recently. I'm like, what? And the opening theme for Last Call Lambo is a great example of that because it sounds like
Mhm.
this fast little jazzy thing at like the 1.5 speed. And if you hear 1 time speed, you're like, is the clarinet player drunk? What's going on there? Like it's crazy. And related to that, actually, Don. So, this is the second week in a row on social media where I posted about Paul Noonan's excellent end of podcast song because he does a new one every
Yes.
week, for the
Yes.
opponents. So this
Yes.
is like kind of a sub shout out this week. I'm not going to include it on the tweet later,
No, we're
but
not
suffice to
doing
say, I posted it at because I like clipped the entire song that he wrote. It's about the Cowboys, of course. It's it's hilarious. If you didn't check it out, go back.
Okay.
You should be listening to recordings eligible. But I also just posted the song itself. I think on both Twitter and Blue Sky. But the thing
Okay.
is, when I first heard it, I heard it at 1.5 times speed, and I was like, "Oh, this thing slaps!" And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and clip this." And I was like, "Oh, I should put it at 1 times speed for actually doing the clip." And I was like, "Oh, it's a totally different feel at
Yeah.
regular speed versus 1.5 times speed, like a totally different song entirely, and they're both
Yeah.
awesome." But so I was like, I'm gonna just post them both, posted at 1 time speed, posted at 1.5 times speed, so people can hear the difference there either way. Paul, if you're listening, dude, that was a great song. It's one of my favorites you've done so far. So
And now they have choices. That's great. When I do my true crime, I'm doing this series right now where I'm going through videos that are on normal speed, and so I
Mhm.
have them on faster, like 1.25, not 1.5. There are
Yeah,
some heavy accents, especially in this one, and then I put the closed captioning up in a bright, like, yellow highlighter so
yeah,
people
yeah,
can,
yeah,
because so many people are used to that. But I did get a comment on one last night, I think it was, where they said, "I had to slow this down. It was going so fast." But I think a lot of it is because of the accents in this particular
Mhm.
trial. They have, it's a little harder to understand them, which is why I put the CC up, so the closed
Sure,
captioning. So
sure.
anyway, I'm gonna probably keep doing it at 1.25. Plus, I can get through it faster. It makes a big difference when you have like 80 hours of testimony to go through.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, you gotta get through that somehow, some way, indeed.
Yeah, it's gonna take a few months to get through this series, but it's worth it. It's worth it. All right.
Well, Don, this is a good segue into my second superlative. Actually, you know that.
All right.
So, I mentioned I had like three big questions. My second big question was like, what happened with the O-line? What's the deal? And so, in three different places, the same guy was there to help shed some light on what the heck happened here. I'm talking about Mike Wall, former Packers player.
Mhm.
He's doing a weekly like live show with Andy Herman, and then also
Yep.
like a regular like chalk talk one. Plus, he did a video this week breaking down some of the Packers plays. Now, the video is what I want to focus on. It was excellent. I'm not sure if he's done these videos before. I think it might be a new thing for him. I mean, he's done all kinds of videos, but I think breaking down like the Packers game of the week might be new with him. Regardless, we have all these great film grinders. We've talked about a lot of them on here. I even mentioned Dusty already tonight, for example. But the thing that I really liked about Mike Wall's approach is that, he was no lineman. So whether he even is setting out to do so or not, he's always going to be like adding a lot of like, real insider, expert, pro knowledge about the O-line stuff that's happening. And so in watching how he's breaking down the plays, I'm like really keyed into like what he's saying about the O-line, and it made so much sense. And like, well, speaking of like learning stuff while you're watching something, it was super illuminating. And this didn't explain. I mean, it didn't make me feel better about the O-line, but at least it was like, okay, I see how this broke down. And when I said at the top of the show, like I get that the game came down to our O-line was beat up and they were shuffling and trying to do their best against like a super dominant, Browns defense. And you really see that in the way how Mike Wall broke it down. You can see like, oh yeah, here's exactly what the Browns did to exploit this weakness in the line at this point on this play. Again and again and again. So it's like a half-hour long video. And so I said that I'm gonna like retro a segue into this. But what I meant when I said it was a good segue was that I was trying, because it was like half-hour long. I only had so much time at lunch to watch it. The first day it popped up, I was like, oh, let's put this on like 1.25 speed. Well, the thing is, I can follow what he's saying, but then when he shows like the clips at 1.25 speed, because where I have it, it's like, oh no, I can't. I can't process that. I can process the film at that speed. I almost have to have the film at like 0.5 speed to a degree, to like really what's happening there so much at once. So whereas I can listen to podcasts 1.5, it turns out like film videos, that's gonna have to stay at 1 time speed for me.
That makes sense. The visual, right?
But yeah, all the Mike Wall stuff from this week, the 3 different things, especially the film breakdown, fantastic. Really great week to learn a lot about that stuff.
Yeah, those are in my queue. I didn't get to them yet. That would require concentration. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe Saturday. We'll see. I've had a mind-numbing kind of headache for about 10 days, so that's why I'm saying this. For anyone who's cares. For anyone who cares.
I care.
That's my excuse.
Well, what's your next one, Don? What do you have for your next superlative?
Okay, let me find it. Okay, so my next, where did it go? Okay, my next one is a better reality check. So here's a better reality check. Matt LaFleur has been the head coach of the Green Bay Packers since 2019. As of the end of week 3, his regular season record stands at 69-34.
That's really good.
Yeah. Winning percentage of 0.67. So this places him among the most successful head coaches in NFL history. Okay, so I guess it's just behind somebody named George Seifert. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, George Seifert. Yeah.
George, who was that? Who did he coach?
I'm not going to like then say this team in these years. I'm not that good, but I know the name. Yeah.
Okay. Don't know, but he's had 75 wins from 89 to 94, so pretty good. So under LaFleur's leadership, the Packers have reached the playoffs in 5 of the 6 seasons. During we don't care about the postseason record. We know we haven't won the Super Bowl, and that's all that matters to me, so I'm going to leave that part out. So notably, he became the first head coach in NFL history to lead his team to 3 consecutive seasons with 13 or more wins. We know that. And his tenure has been marked by strong regular season performance, consistent playoff appearances, and notable achievement in securing multiple wins, blah, blah, blah. So we've got a good quarterback and we've got a good. So all is not lost because we lost one game. It was kind of a stupid loss and it bothered us because of the way we lost. It was just, but it wasn't like we went out there and didn't play both sides of the ball, that kind of thing. Like we've had some really ugly performances. This was just kind of weird in a lot of ways. So I would just
fluky,
say,
especially the end.
Fluky, yeah. So I would just say, for my part, that he might be. If I had a criticism of LaFleur, I don't know the answer is yes or no, but I wonder if he's too slow in correcting his hiring mistakes with the way that he staffs coaches. So Joe Barry, Rich Bisaccia, looking at you, but we don't know. We don't know. I don't know anything. I had
And the
just,
Bisaccia one is tricky. It's been, you know,
yeah,
after the week we had, a lot of people are talking about it, and you hear a lot more analysis than I think we've heard most weeks, because it sure was frustrating.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Woof.
just wonder, it's like, okay, now, okay, so I'm going to go into my bonus reality checks. I'm going to do 2 in a row because
Go
it
for it.
just sort of, okay, I didn't realize they kind of flow together. So Andy Herman and Justice Moscato on his show with him brought up something that I
Mhm.
was actually wondering about on that special teams thing about whether or not they can practice the blocking field
Mhm.
field goal blocks, or not having them happen, more
Mhm.
importantly. So, so basically how to block and how to prevent them from being blocked
Mhm.
at 2 times. Yeah. And, so what Justice brought up was interesting. So within the limitations on how often padded practice can take place because of the NFLPA agreements,
Right.
it's not something that might take a priority, right? Because they can only
Yeah.
get the pads on. But I'm thinking you could do a whole lot of film work. We know players get together outside of practice and
Sure.
do things.
Yeah.
You could definitely do a lot of film on that. And it did seem to me like all around the league last week, there were like 7 blocked field goals, right? They were
It was a
like
crazy
having
high number. Yeah.
10 minutes of one another. It was great because I was watching. And it's like, okay, it's kind of smart. It's smart special teams coaching. If you're thinking it's early in the season and teams are kind of, not quite all together there, especially special teams, because it seems like special teams is almost like an afterthought in a lot of ways. And so that's really smart of some special teams coaches on some teams to actually
Mhm.
exploit that other teams might not be ready, right, for this, and to do it, early in the season before teams are kind of really looking for that. And I think also with the Packers having such a strong offensive line, offense in general, being
Mhm.
known for that, and then this year a really good defense, special teams is like, hey, yeah, well, they'll take care of themselves. I don't think so. I think that there needs to be a lot more. I think it's been shown season after season here that special teams needs a lot more work, a lot more prioritization,
Mhm.
and within, of course, the limitations of what they can do in practice and all that. But it's just kind of weird that some teams really have the beat on this, especially
Mhm.
early in the
Mhm.
season, whereas some teams don't. And so I have to believe that that's because they're thinking about it more. Like, and they should be. We should expect them. We should expect the Packers special teams coaches to be thinking about this more. I don't think that's unreasonable. What do you think?
Ooh, a lot of thoughts, Don. Because that actually goes really nicely into my third superlative. So if I can
Good.
transition into it,
Yes.
um, like I said, a lot of people are talking this week about, like, how do special teams work? What is Rich Bisaccia doing here? Why are there failures? And so I really
Mhm.
like the dive into this that John Meerdink did on, his podcast Blue 58, which, people, if you're not listening to that, come on. Um,
Mhm.
because he really wanted to look at it, like, why do we have these problems year after year with the Packers of terrible special teams play? So I said, let's look at the factors, right? Is it that Rich Bisaccia doesn't know how to do this? Well, if you look back at the special teams rankings that you see every year from what's his face, Joe will probably hit me in the chat before I can think of the guy's name, the annual special teams rankings.
Okay.
In Rich Bisaccia's career, he's often had like top 10 special teams in that ranking. So it's not that he can't do it. He's not a bum. Is it that they're not putting talented enough players out there? Well, especially over the last 4 years, they've had more and more of the starters in the mix for
Mhm.
special teams. So it's not that they don't have the talent out there. And he like broke it down like this year is this many, these 2 people, these 3 people the next year. Like he went at full into like the details, right? But they have enough starters in there. So it's not that. It's not the lack of talent. So then
Right.
is it that we're just cursed? I think that's where he landed on it, because what I'm saying, this is like best analysis on special teams. In the end, it's John Meerding analyzed it and came to like had to throw up his hands and say,
Hmm.
I don't know, man. We're looking at all the factors. It might be they might just be cursed. But the point he did make, kind of rolling off of that, was, is it maybe like which position types are being recruited to play in the special teams? Do we need more linemen, more people who could block? Somebody trying to block stop somebody from blocking a field goal. Is it like we need just different body types out there for the stuff we're doing? But when you think about it, you're right. Like special teams, you think there's probably a sense in which it's kind of an afterthought, especially if you're using more of the starters, because you're taking away practice time for the starters and their offense and defense roles. But when it comes down to it, we don't know what they're doing in practice, and we don't know how the time is allocated, and we'll probably never know. So it's like, is Bisaccia being given enough time to work with them? Is he being given enough chance? Because when it comes down to it, like, I have a hard time believing he's actually a bad special teams coach, because he will get after the guys who are screwing stuff up. Like we do see that in the clips, like in training camp, whatever else, where we can actually see some clips, and hear random stuff from like the beat reporters, etc. So I don't think it's like he's too like soft with them. I think he gets on their cases when they screw stuff up, and he knows his stuff because he's had good special teams in the past. I don't know.
But not for the Packer. He wasn't ranked high since he's been a special teams.
That is a good point. Right. Yeah, not for the Packers for sure, but for previous teams that he worked for. Yeah. So what's that? So I think my point is, I don't think it's a Bisaccia problem. I think it's something about how things are structured, within the organization for the time they allot or whatever. I think Bisaccia probably can do his job, but is hampered by all the other factors. But that's a guess. We all can do is guess, because with John Meerding's excellent, dig into it. It even showed that like it's kind of inexplicable. So will we know? I don't know. But in the meantime, gosh, Don, I hope they figure some stuff out, because it was a really bad game on special teams. And especially, I think when it comes down to it, the penalties are maybe the most frustrating part of it. They've been so penalized on special teams this year. It's like, if we can at least clean that up, maybe we can bring it up to like not the worst thing every week. I mean, in the end, I guess it will, because if the offense is good, the defense is good. And by default, special teams will be the worst. But you know what I mean? It won't be like the most frustrating thing, hopefully.
Well, in two, it kind of stands to reason. So, I mean, the Browns know their offense is a little like marginal.
Womp womp.
They know it. Right? They know their defense is great. So if they need a few points, where are they going to get it? They're not going to get it from they're going to get it from ST. So it's kind of like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I started thinking about the Browns, and it's like, and some of the teams that did well with that this weekend, and I can't even remember who they are anymore. I think the Eagles was one. Now they're very
for like
well
the blocked field goals, like the Jets blocked a field goal, and I forget who else. There's another team like right after the Packers game was over. It was like boom, then another one.
Right,
boom, it was so
and
there's another one later in the day. I think right. There was one in the Rams game, right?
Beat the Eagles if it weren't for that, and so it's really important that we have that tool. It's like we have an O and a D and no special teams, and that's just not right. Like we can't be the Green Bay Packers without that. It's even if it's just 3 points, it would win the game. Yeah. It made all the difference last weekend, and we've seen it make the difference, and it made all the difference for the Rams. Not that, I don't know anything about their history with special teams or anything like that, but I'm just saying it's too important. It's glaring. I mean, everybody's questioning it because it's been a recurring theme. So, it's really sad. It's really sad. Yeah. We can't expect the offense to be perfect. We can't expect no mistakes anywhere. But we can expect that at least the special teams has like the same rate or the same reasonableness rate of success and errors as it should be.
Yeah. It's because it's bad. It's bad.
so maddening.
So an interesting point from True North here. Go ahead and read this one real fast. True North says, Packers kicking teams are good. Mostly, but they may not have the best body types for special team blocking. do we want to use roster spots for these players? Well, I don't know if it's like special roster spots. Like he has had like Christian Welch, good example, right? To a degree, Zane Anderson. But I think it's more like which players we're using from the starters kind of in there for the right body types for the blocking. So, I mean, yeah, I think somewhere in the middle, I think, I don't think we want to spend a lot of roster spots on just special teams guys. Maybe a couple, a small amount, a small handful, 2 or 3 or 4 at the most. But yeah, it's just bringing different guys into the special teams for that kind of stuff is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, or just training the guys better. That's what I'm saying. It's just a focus thing. It seems like it just
seems like a focus thing to some degree.
Stands to reason. Yeah, just focus on it. And no, I don't think most teams have the luxury of having just special teams players. I don't think any team in the NFL has that. So I don't think the Green Bay should. Do they?
I think most teams do have at least a couple of guys. I think. I don't know. I'm just saying off the top of my head. I think, but I'd have to really look into that. I don't know for sure.
Research.
But now you got me curious, Dawn. How many special teams dedicated?
I think I thought about this before a couple of years ago, and I looked into it, but I'll have to do it again because I have no memory of anything.
I think it's not uncommon. I'll just say that.
What?
I said I think it's not uncommon that there are more like dedicated special teams players on most teams, I think. But we'll look into it. We'll get back to you, folks. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
So, do you have any other superlatives, Dawn?
I think you have one more. Was that your last one?
I have one more. No, I have one more.
Nope.
I'll tell you what it is. All right, here we go.
Tell us what it is.
My last one is, so those are my big 3 questions I was grappling with that people kind of stepped up and talked about in their content this week. So my bonus one is apart from all these. That's why it's a bonus one. This is coolest crossover. So right after the game was over, one of the first podcasts to hit was this week's episode of the Repack from Frozen Tundra Frequencies. This is the one that Evan Tex Western does. Remember when he was on the show? Wasn't he great? Evan was awesome.
Yes.
So
yes.
He is traveling, I think, in Croatia currently. He's like throughout somewhere in Eastern Europe. And so he met up with at least one of the guys who does the Crow podcast, which is
cool.
completely in a foreign language. I've never listened to it because it's in Croatian, right? But like one of the guys who's part of that podcast and whose handle on social media is Crow has been a great follow for a long time. Really enjoyed that account. So Evan met up with them in real life, watched the game with them, and then did like a crossover podcast with the Repack and Crow podcast. And it was awesome. It was awesome because on one hand they're talking about like their analysis of the game and like that's great. That's really great. But then he got into talking to them the same kind of stuff we do with our guests, saying like, well, how did you guys become Packers fans? You're out here in Croatia. Like, how did you become a Packers fan? And just hearing the story of how that happens internationally was fascinating and like really cool. To think like our small market team, our beloved Green Bay Packers somehow can become popular all over the planet is bananas and it's really cool, And so just hearing about the stories of their fandom, it was neat.
That's really neat. That's really neat. I'll have to listen to that.
I'll add to Don. I highly recommend. Of course, I'll add to that. After the game, we were all, kind of angry and sad and whatever else, frustrated, annoyed, whatever emotions we were dealing with. Not great emotions. But listening to that podcast, because I listened to it that night, because they usually come out.
Okay.
That did a lot to help me just kind of like take a breath and feel better about stuff.
Yeah.
This is a really wonderful, podcast right now. It just hits where it needs to help me kind of like take a breath and be like, okay, you know what?
Right.
We're good. So yeah,
right.
It was good stuff.
Because Matt, it's about the people.
It's about the people. Yes. The fans, the community, getting to know folks you would never otherwise met, doing podcasts with people you wouldn't have otherwise never have met, We never
knew each other. And True North says, I want to see this new documentary, No Packers, No Life. Where's that, True North? Where's that? I haven't heard it. Have you heard of that, Matt?
I haven't. I don't know if he's making that up or if that's a real thing. I don't know.
Oh, is that a joke? Okay.
Actually, googling it. No, it's a heartwarming documentary. It follows a passionate group of superfans, not in Wisconsin, but in the heart of Tokyo, who live, breathe, and bleed green and gold. Oh, I didn't know about this. Okay,
I
might show up
might
in a future
have.
superlative. We'll see.
Is it new?
Might show up.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's very cool. Yeah, I have a friend who's from Croatia. She spends a couple months there
Mm,
every summer. It's beautiful. It's beautiful there.
mm, mhm.
I bet he just got some really great photos and had some great memories, but it looks like a place I could live. Really. I mean, it's gorgeous. All right, Maddie. Well, any final thoughts before we bring her home? It looks like the Cardinals are not pulling it together. The score
Mm,
is fourth quarter, just started 17 Seahawks, 6 Cardinals. They've had two
yikes.
field goals. Hmm.
Well, fortunately, it's a game we don't care that much about. So, Don, I think my final thought is it's this. It's this. Get a grip. You know, it was a bad game, and I'm not saying this to you. I'm saying to like
Oh,
the no, not to you, Don. No, you're fine. You're cool. No, to people who are like going overboard on social media, like we need to fire LaFleur and Jordan Love's a
oh,
bum, and like he's not
right.
the one, and like clean house. Like, yeah, get a
Yeah.
grip. It was one
Yeah.
bad game, and every team, like how many undefeated teams, um, have there ever been one? Is that right? Is it one? The Dolphins 1 year? Is that it? So like going undefeated is virtually impossible because the other people out there they're being paid to play too, and they're professionals and they're all like amazing athletes. So one bad game, and yeah, okay, we thought the Browns were the color of their uniform was fitting. We all thought dude wipes. We all thought they're poo poo, right? But their defense is for real, and it was a bad day for us to play against a good defense with their O-line. And so get a grip. Get a grip. This isn't the Packers are bad. We need to clean house. This is still a team that's probably going to make it into the playoffs, could make it to the championship game, could make it to the Super Bowl. I'm still going to say that. So get a grip. Joe says, what am I supposed to grip? Joe, I don't know if you need to get a grip, man. I don't know if you're one of those people calling for people's heads. I don't think you were one of those guys. But what is the grip on reality? I think is what people they say that. And True North is calling me out for turning into negative Dan Kotnick from Lombardi's Bar. Hold on. You hold your mouth there, True North. I would never. But yeah, suffice to say, it was one bad game. No one needs to be fired. Get a grip. And let's enjoy the rest of the season. Let's move on to that next game, which should be a whooping in Jerry World.
We'll see. We'll see. It's early days, and what are we going to do? Fire everybody in the middle of a season at the beginning of a season? That wouldn't make any sense
right.
anyway. So that's one reason I am glad I am not on Twitter. It's so refreshing.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because like with the season, go ahead. Okay, I was just say, so with the season back in,
we have a little.
Go ahead, Dawn. Go ahead. By all means, please.
I will go ahead because you told me to. Sorry. I will like post little things here and there, and then it's just like I like throw them out there, and then I forget, and I leave, and that's it. I don't get into any of the. I mean, I look at other people's posts, but I haven't seen anything real crazy. But also after the game, I just shut down. So who knows if I would, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to social media after a game just to see what people are saying and kind of like, a little bit of commiseration if it's a bad game or whatever else. But, so I've been off Twitter a lot in the off season and just kind of on Blue Sky. With the season back in, I've been much more on Twitter because that's where a lot of our friends are, a lot of our fellow fans are. So I've been kind of splitting time between Blue Sky and Twitter. And so you really just see in sharp relief after a game like this, how different the Packers fans' vibes are between the two places. Like you can see more reasonable measured takes on Blue Sky than you're seeing on Twitter right now. And I'm not saying there's none on Twitter and everything on Blue Sky is like cheery, but just, the ratio is a lot different on those two places. So, consider that when you're moving on to a place to go scroll around for a bit,
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. By the way, this Walker, running back from the Seahawks is really good. I wish we had him. Why can't we have him? No, he's really good. I don't know.
We
You
have Josh
haven't been
Jacobs.
watching.
We have a Josh Jacobs at home.
Yeah, we have Josh, but this guy, man, I don't know.
I'll check that
No,
out.
no shade to Josh, but this guy is good too. We could have them both. We could have them both. There's another touchdown there.
Oh,
He
can you
just
imagine?
did another one. He's really good. Oh no, that was Charbonnet. Never mind. Makes me want to have a glass of white wine.
There you go. And on that note, Dawn, let's bring her
On
home.
that note, let's bring her home.
Well, anyhow, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate a guest on our podcast, please let us know. We're going to have some more guests coming soon on our show, actually, and our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, especially you in the chat, and be fans of you.
Especially.
And had the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.